everybody? It's another episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, a.k.a. Merchel, and I am joined by the fellas. We're back, baby. Finally. Last week I was gone. Week before Yaya was gone. Oh, yeah, it's Super Yaya.
Yeah, it's kind of tired Yaya today.
I'm going to still call you Super Yaya, but when you least expect it, I will change it to Tired Yaya. Also joining us.
When I'm most energetic.
Also joining us, it's downtown Duane Brown.
It's good to have everybody back.
Yeah, dude.
At one time.
Big time. Big time
Big
show.
Big fan.
Not a ton going on in the world of the Rapids. We're going to finish up our season review of the position groups, strikers, wingers, forwards, however you would like to discuss that. I think there's some really interesting stuff to get into.
We're going to fight. I know if we're going to fight, but I know we are.
Going through, kind of looking back, not just at, the box score stats, but some analytics and stuff like that. There's actually some pretty interesting stuff to pull out of that group from last season, and I don't know if it was a little thing or a Frazier thing or just an anomaly. So we'll get into that in the second and third segments. First, we're just going to kind of work our way through a little mini roundup of stuff. We got, we have a few ways we can go. We talk about Beaudry with the U.S. under-17s at the Under-17 World Cup. They won their first game 2-1. He got the start. We can talk about Cole Bassett back in the Olympic fold, back in the U.S. men's national team fold. We can, kind of shoot the shit on some coaching stuff or wherever you guys want to go. Yeah, where should we go first?
Let's go with Cole Bassett. Let's start the show off a little bit in a better mood. Let's get happy today.
Let's do it. Yeah, Cole Bassett. He is in the U.S. men's national team Olympic camp. They have 2 Olympic qualifiers here in this international break. The social post I saw from U.S. Soccer, he was featured in 2 of the pictures, which was surprising.
They had to get good-looking people for it, man.
That's
they
true.
kind of put the ugly ones on there.
He is a very photogenic man. Look, I think he's going to be relatively involved. When you look through that roster, it's a lot of, I think the most, quote, successful guy, you're looking at like Jean-Luc Busio, over at Venezia. But outside of that, it's a lot of MLS guys, guys in lower European leagues.
Aiden Morris.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Did Danny make the cut, by the way? Danny Leyva?
I didn't see him, but I also read it really quickly, but I don't think he did.
I didn't think he did either, but you had... What's another one that we were talking about yesterday?
Tolkien.
Tolkien is the other one that.
Yeah, we both like Tolkien a lot.
Yeah, so Mitch's big takeaway from this was see who plays really well with Cole and try to go get them.
More than who plays well with Cole, who's Cole hanging with? Right?
Yeah.
Like, treat this like the NBA world treats the Olympics, where it's like, those guys latch onto each other, and then a year later they're in a super team together. Not that the Rapids are ever going to create a super team.
We are. That stuff. We're creating a super team. Get ready.
We're in at the ground floor, baby. Let's go.
But then Mitch started giving up some guys like, Aiden Morris. I'm like, no,
I know they're not getting Aiden Morris.
I know. Like, this is the thing. Like, I haven't even looked at the roster yet. I just know Cole's there, and then I had Mitch kind of just throw some names out there, and he's like, well, Tolkien. I'm like, yeah, he'd be great, but I doubt he's going to ever, want to leave. Then who was another one? Caleb Wiley.
Well, come on. Wiley would be awesome. What are you talking about?
I don't think Atlanta's going to want to trade another one of their left backs to the Rapids after they got rid of Gutman.
Wow, what if we put them together?
Super team. Super team.
What lineup would have 2 left backs at the same time?
Well, based on our reviews so far, we could just push Gutman
into a winger,
all the way up top. No, let's okay, but Cole specifically.
Yeah.
We kind of ended the season on a Cole for captain, right? Like showing leadership skills, playing his best footy we've seen from him ever. Right?
Yeah.
He ended the season on a very strong note under Little. Duane, when you look at this, yes, they're just Olympic qualifiers. It's not Nations League. It's not World Cup qualifiers. It's it's going to be a young roster. What do you hope to see from him, whether it's stats, whether it's just getting the experience, staying healthy? Like, what are you looking for from him there?
I want to see him ball out. I want to see goals.
Goal Bassett?
I want to see him become one of the leaders of the squad. I all good things for Cole. Like it's, towards the end of the season, like we've said, he's really started to kind of morph into this guy that we all knew he was and was probably going to be. And so why just keep that for the Rapids? Keep going. Share that with the men's national team and start to get on the national, ticket and start to get that attention. And, maybe we see him play more with the national team and World Cup, baby, coming up.
Whoa.
We got a little Cole Bassett on the World Cup
Could you
team,
imagine?
so-
I mean, look, more for me, I would love to see him on the World Cup roster in 26. It's more like, can he play himself into that last kind of rotating forward spot, midfielder spot that kind of is whoever's in form but not good enough to break into the top first team.
Yeah, like the Jordan Morris, the Christian Roldan.
MLS. That's the role
Yeah.
that can Cole break into that spot.
Yeah,
where you probably won't play.
That's the one that you want, like guys that are going to be good guys, but just aren't good enough to be on that USMNT team. And kind of going back to what Duane said, I do want to see a little bit of all that. Like I really do want him. I want to see him shine. My biggest thing is I want him to be healthy. I am so afraid whenever those things happen that you finally get a player hitting his stride, and then all of a sudden he just a freak accident. And I'll knock on wood because I want Cole to be okay, man. That's my biggest.
Sure.
That's my biggest fear with this. Every time any player gets called up to the national team, I'm a nation over club kind of guy. I never take that country over club.
You're club over country.
No,
you're
country.
opposite.
I'm country over club.
Sure.
But it does either when they get called up, I am really afraid though because I do love my club still.
What
And
about
that's my biggest
music?
fear.
Are you club music over country music?
Actually, no.
Wow.
I'm actually country music over club
What
music.
a question.
Because if anybody knows this, Duane knows this. And that
It's the off season, baby. Welcome to Dumb Questions.
But this is the truth, though. Duane knows this. Country people that like country are just Mexicans that are light skinned. They're the same
Wow.
thing. Cowboys are the same thing as Mexicans.
It's true.
And
There's a lot of love.
country music actually originated from Mexican music that originated from polka music.
Wow.
So I'm a big country guy.
Let's go. What a walk. What
A little
long
music
walk
history
that
for you
was.
guys.
If you're looking at the other midfielders in this roster,
Love those two.
Wait, speaking of midfield, way to pivot back to
Speaking of mid music, let's go back to the midfield.
you got Tencio from Seattle, Cole, Busio, like I said, and then you got Kramaski. Ooh, Kramaski's nice with it. And you got Jack McGlynn.
I like Jack McClain quite a bit.
Me
actually.
too. And then you got Tanner Tessman.
Tanner Tessman is actually pretty. That midfield is kind of stacked. Honestly.
It's kind of stacked, but I mean, if Cole can bag a goal, you see him working. It's not like that's an unobtainable list to rise to the top of.
No, you can be the cream of the crop really easily with that. Like if you just put in a little bit of work, honestly.
Right. So Busio was in the Gold Cup squad, right?
Correct.
He was the regular in the Gold Cup, not Nations League.
Yep.
Outside of that, I mean, you have some names that we like, but it's not like they're names that you pencil in as even put in pencil as for sure starters, right? Like Kramaski's obviously good with it. McGlynn, I don't know how much Philly's going to want him to play right now in the middle of a playoff run.
I think they can't care. They
They can care. It is the playoffs, but I don't know. I think it's a really interesting opportunity for Cole. We hope he takes that leadership that we've been talking about over and over and over.
Out of that squad, that midfield group, who do you guys think is going to be the biggest competition for him to get minutes?
It's probably that Kramaski McGlynn.
Busio kind of trio?
Well, Busio, I think that's the only person you put in pen as a starter. I don't think there's any world where he flies over from Italy to come play and not play.
I mean, Tessman, too, is the same way from Italy.
Tessman's on the same squad as him.
Yeah,
but Tessman, I don't think is as established in that men's national team pecking order. Can he fit in next to Busio? That's kind of the question.
Of course, yeah. And again, that to me, I think Cole's he's gonna get his minutes. I think 2 games. It's what he's called up for, right?
Yep.
As of now, how many minutes do you guys think he'll get? I'm kind of thinking 45.
They're playing Iraq and Morocco. Morocco, obviously,
Semifinalists
in the World Cup. Super fun squad, a lot of talent, strong midfield, really strong midfield group. I hope he gets, you hope he can fit in 100 minutes.
Out of 180?
190, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Right? Gets 60, gets 30, something like that. Who knows? I mean, we have to see that first game. That first game is going to tell you a lot about where he is there. He missed the chance to go to camp over the summer when he was that last injury he dealt with, like, what was that, July, August, kind of. He missed out on that, and he talked to me, he talked to us about that. It wasn't Burgundy Affair. It was one other time he was around here. Maybe it was at the Women's World Cup or something. But, he's like, I mean, that's obviously one of his big goals. It's not just playing European club soccer. He wants to represent the U.S., and no better time to go in when you're in your best form and you just had a few weeks off to rest up. I mean, that's about as good of an opportunity as you can hope for. When you look at the forwards, because we call him Goal Bassett, because I think his best opportunity is not necessarily to set up, but is to score, right? There's no, Cade Cowell is probably, I would put him as the best guy up top right now in this group. You have Yohan Gomez. You have Kamungo from Dallas. MLS guys. Oh my God, that guy in New England, but I don't want to try and say his name.
I can try to say it. Bless you.
Baraktarovic?
Baraktarovic.
That's good.
And then you have Taylor Booth. I mean, there's some guys that have kind of circled around. They're honestly, that forward group is more
wide open,
reflective of kind of Cole Bassett's kind of hopeful goal is like, can I use this to springboard into a Nations League, into a Gold Cup, into a Copa, and then kind of see where I fit.
I'm more interested in seeing Yohan Gomez.
Me too.
And Cade Cowell.
God, Cade is
Those
so
are my
dope.
two guys from that forward squad.
Sick.
I'm surprised he hasn't broken in full time to that first team. I'm actually really astonished.
I mean, who's on the wings though?
In that first team?
Yeah, I mean, you're not playing him over
the
Pulisic.
B team, but you can play him on the B team.
Yeah, it's true. He should be the Gold Cup to the Nations League. He should be entrenched.
Yeah, he should be like that Jordan Morris. Like, I think he's like around that level. Maybe not more as established, but also you got to realize that Cade Cowell has been around for a minute. Wasn't he signed when he was like 14 or something? And he's been a professional since he was like 14, 15 years old. So, like, it feels like he's been around forever, but he's only like 19, 20. Like, he's still a literal child.
Yeah. Man, there are some guys in pretty good form, actually. Tolkien, who we talked about in defense, he had that goal over Charlotte.
John Tolkien is dope. I love Tolkien so much.
I don't know. It's going to be fun. I mean, and usually I'm not going to get very hyped about Olympic qualifying, right? It's basically the under-23 team.
Yeah.
But when Cole's involved, it's kind of easy.
Yep.
Speaking of national teams, go all the way down to the under-17 World Cup, where Academy...
Prodigy,
Gem, the crown jewel of the Academy. You got Adam Beaudry, who started against Burkina Faso. U.S. wins 2-1. He's the guy on that squad.
Yeah, for sure.
Good to see him. He was in the under 15 World Cup.
Yeah, last year.
Right, and now he's at the under 17 World Cup.
That is kind of insane that he made that jump so quickly that he was able to like just kind of like, hey man, I can play both World Cups within a year.
It's even crazier when you think like the other goalie in his age range is in Barcelona's game day roster.
Isn't there?
That's crazy.
Like, he doesn't start or play, but like he's in his he's on their European roster. Like that's like
bananas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's cool to see that he is not it wasn't just R2. Okay, back to the academy. He goes from a successful campaign into the biggest opportunity he can have right now.
I thought there was another goalie in the Rapids Academy that also made a World Cup.
I don't know if it was World Cup. I think he's now in the camp.
Yeah, it was Campanganolo, I think it's who it is.
Yeah, so basically they have Beaudry, who's if not the top, in the top 2 or 3 keepers in his age range in the U.S., and then they have another top 2 or 3 keeper in his age range below him. Now, I don't think in terms of prospect for like club and transfers and stuff like that, he's on the level of Beaudry, because Beaudry is truly
he's way younger.
Well,
too.
yeah, but truly Beaudry is like I wouldn't be surprised if he's sold for a lot of money before he steps foot with the senior team. You know what I mean? He's that kind of guy.
I'm telling you, that guy's like the Slonina. He is what Chicago had a couple years ago, where Chelsea's like, here's a buttload of money, gimme. And and then they just put him on the bench and don't play him.
Let's see what else. We talked about one other thing we heard. Oh, coaching.
Coaching, yeah.
It has gotten quiet.
Is there something going on with coaching?
It's
If you guys haven't heard, like Duane, the Rapids don't have a head coach right now, and they're searching for one.
I've seen a couple.
We're getting a new coach?
I've seen a couple different schools of thought just via the internet on this. Some people are like, "Oh, it's really quiet. That just means they're going to cheap out and go little."
Yeah,
Or
let's
in-
riff on rumors.
Love rumors, baby.
It's
DNVR and
Coaching
the R
rumor
stands
time.
for rumors, baby.
We need to get actual music.
We can do all this. We have the means.
We have the tools, we have the talent, but we've shirked them for my terrible
We
sounds.
can rebuild him.
I am of the impression that a decision has been made.
Already. Okay.
That is based on the fact that I cannot get a piece of information out of this club right now.
Yeah.
Right? Not even a casual conversation. Nothing. There's nothing going. Like it is a brick wall of info.
Yeah, there's times that we can get a little rumor from somebody we trust,
Yeah,
or
or, like,
somebody we
something's
know, and it's
happening.
off the record, so we really can't say much. But we know, we kind of get an inkling of what's going on. But right now, like it's quiet. It's like
Too quiet.
yeah, you call over and you hear static.
Here's my counter to that.
Okay.
When have the Rapids made a decision on anything that hasn't leaked at least 4 or 5 days before the announcement?
I think that
So
will still
if they-
happen. No, I think that'll still happen.
So if they made the announcement, I'm shocked that it hasn't been leaked yet.
I will say the north boundary was not leaked.
That's true.
That's not a coaching. Or,
That's not.
It's
it may
not.
not be-
But you
That's
asked
not
the
a player
question and I
or coach.
answered.
Look,
That is a
it's-
group of tables with some nice patio lights over top of them.
that nobody cares about.
I don't know. Look. The other thing it could be, and who knows, is maybe they're waiting on an assistant. Maybe that fourth guy. Remember that won our DNVR
That's
Rapids
my-
poll.
that's my
the
thing. It's
mystery
the
fourth.
mystery.
The mystery fourth guy, which took over 50% of the vote in that poll. That
Which
people thought
means
that
it's
would be
true.
The coach, which means it's science, baby.
It's on the internet.
That like maybe they're waiting on an assistant to be eliminated from the playoffs.
I like this. I like your theory quite a bit actually when you told me like, and I kind of see where you're coming from. My theory is a little bit funner that Jesse Marsh got stuck somewhere in London and can't come back, and they're waiting for him so he can sign the paperwork.
Well, currently he is in Italy. He is like the CBS Sports
Guy out there.
Champions League and Europa League sideline guy.
Yeah.
For Paramount, CBS,
That is
whatever.
so weird too that you have
Well,
an
his
ex-coach.
wife has an Italian passport. He said on like in one of those interviews, it was either
Yeah.
pregame or postgame or half, something like that. So he's there, like
Yeah.
he's in Italy. So maybe he made his wife go through all that to get citizenship and move there. No, he's back to the U.S., baby.
That's all I'm waiting for, man. The Jesse Marsh. I also wonder how available
It's
Jason
got-
Sudeikis is.
Let's go.
What if they're just waiting for Jason Sudeikis to like finally just get over that Kansas City love and be like, hey, yeah, I'll go coach your team.
I just saw him and he does like this big concert fundraiser thing every year in Kansas City, and him and
Hannah Waddington.
Hannah
Did that-
Waddington
did
sang
that duo.
the Star Is Born
Yeah,
duet, and it was awesome.
they did a great job. Have you seen
She's awesome.
Have you seen that, by the way?
I have not.
You would love it.
It was
But
cool.
he's one of my favorite SNLers and comedic actors of all time, and I think she is one of the most talented people on the planet.
I am
So,
oddly attracted to her. Like
It's
very,
not
very
oddly. She is.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Like,
What do you
I
mean
am
oddly?
Beautiful.
The
She's
reason-
a beautiful
How weird are you-
celebrity.
how weird are you about
who
to
can
get? This is a
sing
family
and
program.
act. Is way talented.
This is the thing.
There's nothing odd about it.
that to me it's odd because I usually like.
And
to,
she was on a soccer show.
To me, this is why it's odd. Okay, I'm gonna explain myself a little bit. The
There's
oddity
literally
comes-
nothing odd about
Let's keep it a little bit.
No,
here.
to me it's odd because my wife is short. Top people to me not attractive. I would
Wow,
never date a.
thanks.
This is my thing.
What about
okay,
me?
you're not
I'm
that
fine.
fine.
I know,
Calm
I'm
down.
just-
Calm down.
Up to you,
In
I am.
general, and I like not usually not the sort of woman I find really, but Hannah might have been my one crush. Like
Wow.
she is like my one TV crush, which I rarely have.
Wow.
Hannah Waddington is like something
Okay.
about her. I think it might be the way she carries herself. Really, really like
Yeah.
gets me going.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough of Yahya getting going.
Yeah.
I can leave if you guys.
I
need
think
me
we.
to.
I think we moved off of that just in time.
Hey, really quick. What's your favorite Sudeikis SNL bit?
Oh,
Because I'll go first if you want to think about it.
I don't know that I can pick, but I don't know if this is my favorite because that was like really on the spot. But
Yeah.
the first thing that popped into my head was the What's Up With That show.
Yeah.
And Jason Sudeikis, his only role is to be in a tracksuit dancing. That's funny. Like, you don't even get a line, and he still steals the show.
My favorite is like the rotating cast one, but it's mostly him and like whoever else is on the show, and they're in a bar, and there's like a song playing, and they'll all sing the chorus, and then they just tell the most like messed up
Yes.
personal stories
Yeah.
possible, and then it
Yes.
crescendos, and then they all sing the chorus again, and it goes to the next guy. Genius stuff. All right, well that was the Rapids roundup.
That was the Rapids coaching search, by the
So-
way. Real quick, who do you think it's gonna be? Do you think it's the fourth guy?
Yes, I do think it's the fourth guy.
Well, how about you doing?
Well, I mean, that was my theory, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm
With
going
the
to go
fourth
with
guy?
mystery. It's just more fun. The most Rapids thing to be would be Little. After
Yeah.
all of this time and build up, would be to have a U.S. men's national team situation where we spent all off season and it's the guy we already had. That's a very.
I don't know if
Rapids
that's
thing.
a bad thing necessarily.
No, I'm
No,
not
no.
saying that's a
Yeah.
bad thing. I'm just saying it's a very Rapids.
doesn't
thing.
mean
Yeah.
you did your
Yeah.
due diligence.
I am a
Yeah.
little guy. I think it's. I personally think I do. I kind of.
You're not a
understand-
little guy. You're a great big guy.
Thank you very much. I'm huge, but
Oh, well, our guy,
But I-
Mitch,
I am
Mitch
a little-
Potter, our guy, he
Yep.
does the Shirtless Plantain show, Arsenal guy on Twitter.
Yep.
He said, through the grapevine, he's here in Little. And I asked him, Mitchy scoops? Maybe he scooped it last night and said it was Little.
I think it's Little, man. What
Little
I've
makes
heard,
a lot of sense.
What I've heard, people in that club really love Little, and I think he really spoke to the players to the point where I think it really got them interested in playing for the Rapids again, which is, I think, the best way to say it.
Yeah.
So that might be him.
Other soccer news happened over the weekend. Are we still looking broad?
Sure. I mean, we got about 2 minutes before I have to do this ad read.
All right, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, congrats to Gotham for winning the NWSL championship. If you didn't get to watch that game and go back and watch it, the last 10 minutes
Wild.
were awesome.
Yeah.
Just so crazy.
Gotham's keeper
The first one.
handball outside of the box with just a few minutes
Standing in the box, but hands
out
outside
of the box, which
the box.
was the right play.
Yeah, right call.
But red card sent off. They're out of subs. So they're mid. I don't know her name, and I apologize. I just saw this on TikTok, and that's all I'm going off of. She goes back, throws a keeper kit on, throws some gloves on. They survive a very short range free kick.
And you know what's crazy? That's the second time she's done that this season.
It's cool as hell.
She's had to jump back and
That
and play.
goalkeeper should not be allowed back into the locker room. If that's the second time this
Dude,
happens.
this was in like extra time, and I think it was Rose Lavelle was bearing down on her.
It was Rose
And
Lavelle on the
like,
free kick.
Yeah, and it was like coming in, and it was just like, I have to get my hands in front of this. Anybody would have done the same thing. Like,
Again, I get
you
it.
can't take 2 steps back, but they were out of subs, so they couldn't bring on their backup keeper. So it was midfielder is now keeper. This is all an extra like stoppage.
Yeah,
like
it's all
it
like
was
it's about to
all like
end.
craziness.
Yeah.
And they won.
What a wild ending to that. Rapinoe goes down in the first 3 minutes, which is a bummer. She didn't get to play her last game. Ali Krieger gets to go out on top. That was very cool to see both of them. And then the last little bit of news as it relates to our
It's not little news. It's big
no,
news.
it's huge news. Just time wise, not spending the whole show on it. Our friends, our ALLCITY network soccer buddies down in Phoenix, won the USL championship.
That's
which
correct.
was also a
On
crazy game to watch.
Just
at the
an
end.
absolutely insane game.
Yes,
Not
they
just,
won that game twice. They came back twice.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
did see them.
find-
They were losing 2-1. Real quick on that NWSL final, I just can't wait for in 2 years. I'm looking at you, Jordan, when Denver FC is holding that cup, and I'm just crying because
Oh,
Denver
man.
finally has a good soccer team.
It's gonna be so
feel
awesome.
so good. Because I miss good soccer. I watch Liga MX and I love it so much because it's good soccer.
I love NWSL.
Here's how
it's
Rising.
so much fun.
Here's how Rising won that cup. They had a winning goal at San Diego to end San Diego Loyal's existence in the 119th minute. At Orange County, 116th minute, winning goal. At Sacramento Republic FC, this is all on the road.
Yep.
Extra time, 90 plus, winning goal. At Charleston, 90th minute equalizer. No goals and extras. They missed their first 2 penalties. Charleston makes their first 2 penalties.
So over.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you didn't watch, this game was over. When it went to kicks, they were down 2, and it's like, man, this is such a bummer.
And like 2 pretty poor penalties.
Yeah, and then Charleston hits the post twice.
And then a save.
Yeah, and it was just it. That team is the most comeback crazy squad in a playoff situation.
It feels a
that
little
I've
bit like
seen.
a luck, but you need luck to win.
They
a
made their
championship.
last 3.
So-
Charleston didn't, and they are cup champions.
Yeah. So
Pretty
anyway,
awesome.
congrats to our guys down
Absolutely.
at
Max and Owen.
PHNX Rising.
Those guys go harder for the USL than anyone I've ever met. So
They
good
do.
for them.
They are one of one.
love those guys.
Traveled all the way out there, and yeah, they.
No, they are.
Also,
they're truly dope.
Switchback's coming to take that trophy.
Let's go,
straight
baby.
away. So it's cool.
Look, that was it was really cool to see. We're really happy for them. I was at the Dark Horse in Boulder, maybe for the last time ever, because it's going to turn into student housing. RIP. I was watching on my phone and going crazy, and people were looking at me like I was a lunatic. But you know, what are you going to do? I am a lunatic for the footy. Let's get into our season review, but first,
What else are you a lunatic about?
wow, God, you're so good at this. I'm a lunatic about Illegal Pete's. I was there yesterday for lunch. Pretty decent chance I'm there for lunch today.
For the rest of your life.
Pretty good chance I'm there for lunch tomorrow,
there's
baby.
a 70% chance on any given day that is Mitch's lunch.
It's right there.
Go to.
So you
And it's
do-
delicious.
So you do know Mitch worked at Illegal Pete's, if you guys haven't heard.
I did for a very
and,
long time.
Illegal Pete's
About 8 years.
And Illegal Pete's was in his marriage vows as well.
No, it wasn't.
It
I
was.
made sure. I made sure. I made it very clear that it was not a part of those.
Mitch's wedding was actually
where you like fighting
at
it.
Illegal Pete's. It was officiated by Pete.
Oh my
and
God, I
their
wish.
first dance was the jingle to Illegal Pete's, which has only been played that one time. If you weren't at the wedding, you've never heard it.
I was officiated by someone I bartended with at Illegal Pete's, and I had 3 groomsmen who I worked with at Illegal Pete's.
It was a very illegal wedding.
My wife had 2 bridesmaids that worked at Illegal Pete's.
There you go.
It is a family affair for sure. This episode of the DNVR Rabbits podcast is sponsored by Illegal Pete's. You know who's back? The Avs. You know who
It's
else
true.
is back?
The champions.
The Nugs, the champs.
They're so good.
They have the finals MVP, and you can become the MVP of your watch party with Illegal Pete's. Get your case of queso, get your burrito box, get your party margs, and they've got you covered to fuel your whole crew. If you have tickets to a game, any of those games, any other games, if you're going to DU hockey, if you're going to give me some other games, guys. It's Buffs basketball,
Rams basketball.
Buffs women's basketball that beat the #1 team in the country.
You still got also a little bit of football to look.
Yeah. If you have tickets to a game, go to Illegal Pete's before or after any ticket event, and you score a free house marger draft beer when you buy an entree. It's about as good of a deal as you can get. You get full, so you don't have to buy crappy stadium food, and you get a little drunk if you get a margarita. Not bad. Pretty good deal.
Great marks, by the way.
Best marks. Absolutely. Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
Is it time?
I think so.
Is it time for Mitch's Pete's Tip of the Week?
These guys get too much into this at times.
I'm not, because I didn't have one planned in my head. I'm kind of racking my brain right now. Here's what you should do. When you go to a Nuggets game and they kill what other whatever crappy team is in their way.
The dumb Clippers.
And you're super stoked. You head over to that Illegal Pete's right there by Union Station. You get your free marg. You get your entree to get your free marg. And you know what you do? You order a 6-piece taquitos for the table. So
That's
you can
the
eat your
buddies
nachos
part.
or you can
That's
eat your
the buddies
burrito,
part.
and then everyone can just grab a taquito and dip it in some queso or some guac or whatever.
And then everyone's like, thanks for that taquito, man.
Taquitos for
This
the table.
game was really great. This was one of the
Yeah.
best nights of my life.
Taquitos for
watching
the table.
this Nuggets win.
Yeah.
But now there's taquitos.
Yeah.
And I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
And it's because of these taquitos.
There was life before the taquitos and there was life after.
and these buddies
Yeah.
and these beers.
And the beers that you got for free because you
Yeah.
went to the Nuggets game.
That's incredible. That is a life-changing experience for
What a tip.
everyone. Wow, that
What a
is a
tip.
top-tier tip.
That's how you tip right there. That'll be the
Incredible.
second segment.
Okay.
So-
Want to make sure.
Yeah. Nope. Second one.
I try to be very quiet. I don't have a quiet button in my.
I didn't hear you, but
All right, let's get into it. We're wrapping up our 2023 positional review
Bum bum
with the
bum, bum.
forwards. And boy,
It's a rough one.
oh boy, is this one the saddest one there is.
We're fighting on this one. I know we are.
Why are we fighting? We did the grades together.
We were
I
We're
know,
all in
but I
agreement.
know
Pretty close.
there will be arguments.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to
Exactly.
stir some shit up.
I think there will be friendly debates.
I am fighting you, Duane.
All right.
Wow.
Yaya's on it today, baby. Where do you guys want to start? Do you want to start as a whole? Do you want to just get
So-
into the players? How do you want to do this?
let's do
Let's
the
pull
players
it up
first. Yeah, let's
and-
pull it up and read off what we graded everything first,
And then we'll go into
and
each
then we'll
guy.
go into
Cool.
each individual one. I think that'd be the best way to do it.
There it is.
Do you want to read off or do you want me? I'm a horrible reader.
I
by
got
the way.
it.
I'm kind of illiterate.
I just read an ad read. I can read this too.
Yeah, I know you're a better reader.
I can, I can read. Diego Rubio. Man, that's sad. We gave him a C. Rafael Navarro, D+. Calvin Harris, C+. Brian Galvan, D. Sam Nicholson, C. Kevin Cabral, F. Jonathan Lewis, D-. Darren Yapi, and this one hurts the most, but is probably accurate, F.
Not accurate. I will fight. No, it's accurate.
And
but I will-
overall, we gave the group an F.
yeah, it's
And
definitely an F.
there's no other way to put it. When you only score 26 goals in 34 games, your forwards get an F. That's
Yeah.
just how it goes.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
your two leading goal scorers were a
Midfielder.
midfielder and a left back,
You get an F. That's an
not
F
fun.
performance as a group. Yeah.
that's an F performance. That's just how it goes. Let's knock out the big dog, Diego Rubio. Injuries. Never really found the chemistry that he had last year with Giassi. You know, with whoever was up with him. It was Yapi for the first half. It was Navarro for the second. When he was available and on the field, but he was plagued by injuries. We gave him a C, which is like a acceptable.
It
you
passed.
You
Yeah,
passed,
that's
but,
it is.
but barely.
And this year was not really about him, honestly. If this grade was really not about. It's about the results. We didn't get what we wanted to see, but it's also really hard to play a whole year when you're that injured, when you don't get to build that chemistry. You have new pieces like Ronan, Maxu, Bombi. You have Gutman come in halfway through the season. You have new wingers as well, and Calvin Harris. Gavon is also coming back, and all these crazy things happening around you. First year with Yapi, that it's hard to build that chemistry. How I said, it's hard to get that player, get all those goals that you had last year. But as one of the Rapids' best players, we do have an expectation for you. And it felt like when he was on the pitch, he didn't fulfill it to the 100%. And part of that is because of how he said he was injured. But the other part is it just didn't happen for him this year. And I think it's not a bad thing, but I think the effort was there for him all year. The passion never changed.
If you had to guess what, and this is on FBref's, percentile statistics. If you had to guess what he was in the 99th percentile of something this year. If you had to guess what that was, either one of you, what do you think it was?
Heart.
Well, that's not ranked on here, but I agree.
You asked me.
That was the right answer.
That was a very good answer. But if you had to throw one out there,
Tackles.
close. Dwayne?
I don't even know.
Clearances.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Clearances. And then he was in the 90th, he was 99th percentile, 90th percentile in aerials 1.
That is insane.
That is, I thought the clearances thing was pretty crazy, but aerials 1 by 5'10 and a half, not all that athletic, Diego Rubio.
Yeah.
And this might be a theme as we go forward, but offensively, shots, he was in the 68th percentile. That was his best mark. Right? Like he just, it was a bad offense for a long time, and that doesn't mean he was the factor in that, right? You're not getting service, you're not getting possession, you're not creating a lot of turnovers because they don't tackle anybody, as we discussed earlier. And it's just, and it shows. It shows, he was frustrated. The team wasn't doing very well, and unfortunately, the stats back that up. He played 1,000 minutes, which is not very much, especially when we talk about some of these other guys. It's a low minute count, especially for a guy like Diego. He had 3 goals, 2 assists. And he won't be here next year, and that makes me sad.
Unfortunately, yeah. He almost just gets an A for being Rubio, you know what I mean?
Sure, and I mean, if I'm grading Rubio as a player, it's not a C.
As a player, as a man, as somebody that we want to see on the Rapids, it's an A. Rapids legend, walking out the door.
100%.
So that's my thing. I think Rubio might be my favorite player in the last 5 years.
I mean, I got his name on my new day kit with the cool numbers, so I agree. Any other notes on Rubio?
No, I love him.
Who's next on that list?
I
Rafael
love Diego
Navarro.
Rubio.
Rafael Navarro. In the MLS, 10 matches played, 885 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2.5 XG. Honestly, and his statistical profile is pretty nice to look at, but where do you guys want to start with Rafa?
Let's talk about how bad he was, and then we can kind of end off on a good note with him.
Sure.
I think that's the best thing to do with a lot of these guys. And with Rafael Navarro, what's the big thing? Didn't score any goal. Scored a goal. Didn't have assists.
A kind of a junk goal on what should have been a beautiful goal Bassett free kick.
Exactly.
Which you need people to clean up. That is a striker's role, is to clean the junk up.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit of a poacher. And that's the biggest thing with him, right? Like, he didn't produce the way that the price tag said you should. I think we should expect 5 goals per $1 million. I think that's reasonable. That would be about 20 goals. Maybe you don't have the full season, so maybe you get 10.
Yeah.
9, 8, 10. I think that's a fair thing to ask. And he didn't produce, which is the biggest negative about him, I think. But I did like his attitude for the most part.
He made himself available.
Yeah.
Which is not something you can say for some of these other guys we're going to talk about, right? You saw some very long passes because he made himself an option for the outside backs, right? For Ronan when he's deep lying, right?
Yeah.
Like he was like that. Like you force yourself into positions to create more, right? And he's a good passer, right?
Yeah.
He has a good first touch. He can control those deep balls, but didn't produce.
That's the biggest mark. And as a striker, that's what you're measured on. What do you think, Duane?
This is such a small sample size.
Yeah, 10 games is not a ton.
As a striker who would be signed on for $4.5 million, my biggest concern with him is that he seems to be a striker that is dependent upon the wingers getting the ball to him.
Yep.
And for $4.5 million, I want a striker who does not have to be dependent upon that.
Sure.
I want him to be able to bring the ball in and still make the magic happen to get those goals. Like, that's a price tag that should carry with it some individual magic that can make those goals happen. And currently, he is very dependent on someone getting the ball to him when he's already in front of the goal. And, to his credit, we are terrible at that, and we'll get into that. But our wingers have not been great this year, so no one's been able to do that. But am I going to spend $4.5 million on a guy who's dependent on the ball being pushed into the middle for him? Probably not.
He will get probably 18 games plus Open Cup games before that decision has to be made.
And that's the most important thing, about his whole situation is what you just said, is that this is such a small sample size, and it's also a sample size with not great help around him.
Right.
If this is going to be the system that the Rapids are creating where he is the guy who's going to go in and we're going to feed the ball to him, then this offseason success is built upon bringing in guys who can get him the ball. If that happens and he turns into, like Yahya saying, 18 to 20 goals a season, well, then, we're looking pretty good. I mean, 18 to 20 goals for one guy on the Rapids, that alone is probably playoffs, So if we can use the offseason to structure it around him and he's the guy, then great. We can start to see that price tag being worth it.
Right.
But a lot of time to just kind of temper our judgment until we get to see him actually play.
Right. And to Kevin's point in the chat, he came from being a rotational piece at Palmeiras with a little guy named Ederson in front of him, who is one of the best prospects in world football. So he didn't get to play a lot. He was a rotational piece, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe you're getting your legs under you. You're playing at altitude. You don't speak English.
Yeah.
There's a lot to adjust to. But on the field, you do just want to see that production that wasn't there.
Yeah, and the other thing with him too, you do see the skill. I remember because I'm going back and watching a lot of his games, and I think it was a game at home. But he took the ball in midfield and he took on two players on the wing, did a nutmeg, kept running, got the ball into the box. Nobody was there. So he does have that skill, and a lot of it he does require players to help him around him. And I just feel like he needs to get the ball in better spots, and honestly does. I just feel like if the team kind of improves around him, he will be able to showcase that skill a lot more, because he does have it. He does have that thing where he can tech up for a few guys to take on and just kind of keep going, and that's what we want from him. And he has a great shot. We've seen it. Like, it just hasn't gone in. So that, how we said, at the end of the day, it's all about what you've done for us now, not what you can do for us in the future.
Yep.
What do you think, statistically speaking, he was the best at? He was 96th percentile.
Being good looking.
He is a handsome fellow, but that is not on the list.
Oh, that's not on. Okay.
Having gorgeous eyes.
Having Jordan tattoos on your neck.
I don't know. Jordan tattoos.
Me and Mitch look at very different things.
Interceptions.
Yeah.
96th percentile in interceptions. 91st percentile in blocks. 74th percentile in tackles. Expected assisted goals, he was 89th percentile. Successful take-ons, like you were talking about, he was also 89th percentile. Overall, he has a pretty nice statistical profile, compared to guys like Carranza, Pepe. Like, he's kind of in that class of striker who are, to be fair, around $4.5 million players.
Yeah.
Right? So if you get the counting stats to back up your statistical profile, you are going to be in the conversation with guys like that.
The framework is there. He just needs to finish it off.
Yep.
All right, up next, Calvin Harris. This is a guy that really we were all sort of interested in. We talked to him at Media Day a little bit. We gave him a C+ for the year.
That's the highest grade on this, by the way.
It is the highest grade on this, which was funny because we saw what all the grades were and then saw what we had to give them overall, and we dropped everybody half mark down. So just because, how can you not, right? Like, that's
it's
come
the
on.
Truth.
He played 899 minutes, 18 matches, 1 goal, 3 assists. Really came on at the end under Chris Little. Was a featured guy. Great chemistry with Gutman. Was able to kind of play across the formation. Decent in possession. What'd you see from him? What'd you like from him this year? Because offensively, it wasn't great.
The biggest thing about Calvin is I think he knew exactly where the ball should be every time. I think he had great anticipation, which is something that Rapids wingers lack quite a bit, especially this year. I liked his ability to be able to shoot and want to shoot, which you don't get a lot from these Rapids players. And the other thing I really liked was his effort level. He was out there giving it 100% every time, willing to put his body on the line to try to make the tackle, try to get the ball back, try to get the goal, which is, again, something that you don't see from a lot of these guys sometimes on the wings. But the biggest issue comes down to, again, production, right? Not a lot of assists, not a lot of goals, which is something that's going to plague this whole group.
Yeah.
But he had more goals than most of these wingers did.
He had a goal and 3 assists. Honestly, assist rate, you're looking at an assist every 3 games from him, which you put that over a season, that's a pretty productive winger.
10 assists around
Right?
there?
Like, that's a pretty
Yeah.
productive winger.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, that's what, if he gets 10 assists next year, that means Rafa's probably hitting that goal mark that we want.
Yeah, anywhere from like 18
Yeah.
to 20 around
Yeah.
there.
This is the first one we talked about whose highest percentile rating was not defensive.
It was take-ons.
It was carries.
Okay.
Progressive carries. Like
Yep.
you said, he was great at that Gutman to the next level reception and turning
Yeah.
and getting it into the attacking third. Outside of that, it is bleak offensively. 21st percentile in non-penalty goals, 7th percentile in non-penalty XG, 5th percentile in shots total, 1st percentile in shot creating actions.
Yeah.
Right? Like bleak offensively. But I think this is one where you look at what you like, the eye test doesn't necessarily match those offensive,
Yeah.
right? Especially with the chemistry we saw on that left side.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
All right.
I don't think that Harris is going to be. He's not going to be a goal scorer. You know, he's like you said with the assists. The Gutman Harris Expressway, when that starts
like
to
that.
come and the ball then gets into Navajo, who's ready for it, that is going to be a dangerous lane down the left side of the pitch. Like, it's going to be super dangerous for other teams. It's a very speedy expressway. You know, as a club that keeps saying we're all about speed, that is going to be his bread and butter. I do think that we will see some set piece goals from him next year. The dude can jump.
Yes,
He's
he's
got
very athletic.
big time ups. So I think, I don't think those offensive stats are going to go through the roof, but I do think those assists are going to still be there. And maybe you get a couple headers in there off of some set pieces too.
All right, let's take a break there. We'll knock out the rest of the list here in the third segment. But man, do we have a nice, important one message for you guys today.
You would think it's important.
I would. It's quite
would.
literally my job.
You would. Everybody would.
Again, I just love talking shit to Mitch.
It's Black Friday,
it's nothing
baby!
bad. He's like, it's completely right.
Coming up, Black Friday. This is the sale of sales here.
Yep.
I know super producer Alyssa already said she's loading up Christmas presents. The whole, with an asterisk, the whole locker is on sale. If something new comes, maybe it won't make it that, but we're talking hoodies, hats, shirts up to 90% off. You have 25% off all team gear. Some of the select items in there will be 50% off. You get 33% off DNVR gear. Hats are on sale. Hoodies are on sale.
We're talking hoodies, shirts, hats.
That's all we got.
More
So,
hoodies,
scarves.
more hats.
Scarves.
I just love that meme so
Stickers.
much. Yeah.
Pint glasses. It's all on sale.
Baby gear.
Baby gear. How did I forget about the baby
If you
gear?
have a winter baby, it's time to get your baby some winter gear.
Yeah, we need to make more because right now it's all Nuggets baby gear.
Yeah, that's why
But
you get winter's gear.
That's true. You do want
You want
a
winter's
winter
gear.
baby to wear winter's gear,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And no better time than Black Friday. It's going to go from Black Friday through Cyber Monday. Huge deals. Spend $75. I personally will send you a $15 gift card for use in the locker after the sale. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think this is the best deal we have all year, hands down. Every year I stock up on gifts for myself because nobody else wants them anymore because they already have all the DNVR gear that they could ever wish for. But this is the best deal of the year, no matter where you go, no matter what locker you're in, whether you're in the men's locker, women's locker, best deal of the year.
100%.
If you don't have a DNVR hoodie yet, they are so comfy.
We recently changed our
It
hoodies,
is so comfy.
and they
have three.
rule. They
My
rule.
goodness. I almost
Yeah.
wore it today, but I was like, it's too hot, but I really want to wear this.
Yeah, so please make sure you are checking out the Black Friday sale at the DNVR locker. And if you are a Rapids fan, but say you're from Chicago, same deal applies at the CHGO locker. Same deal applies at the PHNX locker. Even the PHLY locker will have a sale, even though it's brand new. We want to get you guys hooked up, get you styled out with your favorite team gear. Because D-Line makes bangers and bangers only. So make sure you check that out. All right. Back to the list. Brian Galvan, who, man, he's a crowd favorite. He replaced, when I think of this season, the spiritual
The heart.
movement from losing Lucas Estevez was carried on by Brian Galvan.
That's a great way to put it.
You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
brought the insanity that every team needs just a little bit of.
The thing with Brian, it's true, but the thing with Brian, Lucas, Rubio, and Gavon have all the same thing. They love to fight. You want those guys in a bar fight, and it feels like Gavon was the one most willing to go into that bar and just knock anybody out this
What?
year.
He kicked a dude.
That's what I mean. Unfortunately, his play on the field wasn't great. And I will die on this hill that he is being played in the wrong position.
You have been on that for a long time.
He is being played. He is a 10. You see it when he plays, that he likes to cut in, and that's where he's most effective. He is not a winger. He has the speed to play a winger. He played great at left back for a wing back a couple years ago, and I thought he was great, but he didn't have to be due.
He got some early season run back there too.
Exactly, and which again, I think it's okay. Like that's not a bad position for him. But I think if you want to take advantage of his skill and what he's best at, play him in the midfield, play him at a 10, let him cook. He is one of those guys that's really creative with the ball and knows where the ball should be and just kind of tries things, which is what you need in this midfield. And he's really fast, especially if you want to transition from a 4-3-3 into a 4-4 on a 4-4-2 on attack. You need a lot of speed. He can be your second striker. He's willing to shoot. Him and Navarro up top can really make a good pairing, in my opinion.
I agree. 20 matches played, 664 minutes, 1 goal, no assists, 1.1 XG, which he had 0.7 on his goal because it was a penalty, which was an icy Panenka.
Yeah.
That was dope. It was a match winner. It was definitely the highlight of his season. That's about it for him this season, Duane.
This is completely unrelated.
Okay.
It goes back to the Phoenix Rising game. If you watch the PKs, I don't know that I've ever seen a Panenka not work.
Right.
And that was, if you go back and watch, you will see the world's worst.
It was their first
Panenka ever taken in the history of the sport. It just rolled right to the keeper, and I laughed out loud at it. I think the keeper laughed at how bad it was. Anyway, sorry. It was Galvan's was frosty for sure. It's
if you guys had to guess his highest
make it a multiple choice
percentile.
Give us 3 or 4 to choose from.
Hair,
anger,
anger is a good one actually.
progressive passes, or interceptions.
Progressive passes.
Interceptions.
He was the 95th percentile. The
It's
thing.
almost like there was no other option.
There was hair.
He has great hair.
I said hair.
Look, when it comes to this group, and I did not think about this when we did these grades. Defensively, the forwards were excellent.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's not cool. And I think
it is cool. It just sucks that the rest of the team was terrible.
That's because the forwards were playing back in the defensive zone for most of the
Well,
season.
interceptions is not necessarily a defensive zone stat.
It is kind of weird though that the defense had a better offensive stats than the offense, and the offense had better defensive stats than the defense.
Well, what if we invert the pyramid, dude?
I talked to a Rapids player. Now that the season's over, I talked to a Rapids player during the season who was a forward and who was very frustrated by the fact that they were playing defense for most of the season.
Practicing defense and
practicing defense and being told this is what you are playing. This was in the Robin Fraser era, not the Little era. And that's why those defensive stats are so high. Is they didn't have, that's what they were being coached to do, was to play defense.
Yeah.
Which is
crazy.
Baffling.
All right, moving on. Next guy up. Sammy Nicholson. Sam Nicholson, we gave him a C.
I thought about this and it's too low. I think it should have been
It's
a B.
too low. It's
I
too
thought
low.
about this.
He
Should've been a
was,
B at least.
and this isn't. Look, I was harder on Sam last year than anyone. I was probably harder on him to start the season than anyone. By the end of the season, he absolutely cemented to me that he needs to be a rotation guy next year.
Yep. He should be your Sammy.
Can play everywhere.
He should be your Barrios, honestly.
Honestly, take the Mikey role. His speed didn't ever get back to 100, but it came back to about 95. He played right midfield, left back, right wing.
He played
left
the
wing,
10 too.
Like he played everywhere as injuries just kept decimating this club all season long, and he played okay.
Yeah.
You know, he played at a level where he wasn't the problem. In fact, he was one of the bright spots most games.
I love his turnaround too, where he was a black hole with the ball at the beginning of the year, and I think it was one of the RSL games, one of the first 2 RSL games, where he really kind of just flipped the switch, and he became an offensive piece. And that's the part where I'm like, oh, maybe Sam can become a piece. And as the game went on, he really did turn into something else. As the year went on, he really turned into something more feasible, something that can actually be a part of this team going forward.
Absolutely. 22 matches played, just under 1,500 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist. But I don't think that really tells the story of his season. Duane, what do you see from Sam this year?
I think our grade is right on the money.
Okay. He passed. And only 2 guys passed in this
I've
group. So,
always
yeah, that's
been
actually
one
not
of
a
the
terrible
biggest
grade.
supporters of Sam.
You really
coming
have.
in. I
Hater
loved his
now.
first run with the Rapids,
Hater.
second run.
Just kidding.
My frustration with this past season is that every time Sam gets into the box, I already know what's going to happen, and it's not going to be good.
It's a blocked cross.
Yes, every time. And so, what makes me happy to hear is, the focus, like Yaya and Mitch were both saying about all of the positions he can play and be that utility guy to fill in wherever we need him is the most valuable part of Sam's talent. It's his ability to be adaptable and to, be down for filling in wherever. Like, I feel like Sam's a guy you're never going to get attitude. If someone's like, we need you to play left back today, he'd be like, sweet, let's go play left back. Hey, we need you to play 10 today. Cool, let's go do that.
Right.
He's that's what I love about Sam. He's a football player. He loves football, and that's what he wants to do. It's my only issue is whenever he gets into the box, it's and maybe that changes next year because I do put so much of that on the coaching, in that we didn't have we didn't have any offensive coaching, so maybe that changes next year, and I still think he could be a powerful element on offense too. But yeah, I think a C is fair.
Yeah. I think these last 3 we're gonna have to speed run through.
That's
a little
fine.
bit.
No, we got it. But look, because he played so much across the formation. When you see him as a fullback, 98th percentile non-penalty XG, 88th percentile in shots, 90th percentile in progressive carries, 94th in successful take-ons, 95th in progressive passes received. That means that he is like he's letting the game come to him and then immediately giving it back. Right? Yep. Not playing selfishly at all. As a midfielder, progressive carries, successful take-ons, progressive passes, all 93 percentile or higher. As a midfielder, or as an attacking mid or a winger, offensive stats aren't great, but defensively, 99th percentile in clearances. Like, again, too much defending from our top, but doing it well when called upon.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we can say about him. He did great. I think the grade's too low because I think he was better than we expected for sure.
All right, Kevin Cabral. This one we might spend a little too much time on, but that's okay because it's a big name. We gave him an F.
Yeah,
we gave him a straight up F. This was a big money move. You're still spending like $800,000 or something like that, $900,000 with Galaxy taking some of his salary in the off season. You think, okay, this guy is a reclamation project. You see the talent, you see the speed, you see the skill, and it hasn't turned into production. Played just under 1,200 minutes, 27 matches, 2 goals. Had the tying goal in Austin, which was a pretty rad goal, and then got revenge at Galaxy. So 2 road goals, which means a lot for this team specifically, who didn't score much at all. So pretty big there. But it comes back to that money. And we try to not let anything but the season factor into these grades. But when you bring him in as a DP, when you bring him in on that kind of wage bill, you need more than 2 goals, no assists.
Well, it's not even the money. It's
Well,
that.
it kind of is, but yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's your striker, and you scored 2 goals. That's an F.
No, he was bad. Effort-wise, too.
know?
Effort-wise,
That's the thing that kills
Yeah.
me.
That's the thing that.
I'll give you that.
I'm so bad. I'm so out on Cabral. I don't want to. That DP tag. I'm so out on him. I really don't want him on this team next year. And I hope if he proves me wrong, I really hope. But the effort was not there, and it really gets under my skin.
To quote myself on this podcast post game near the end of the year, if I have to watch Kevin Cabral jog along that top line one more game, I'm gonna lose my mind.
And I'm sure his defensive
Sprint.
stats aren't great either.
No,
because
they're great.
that is actually true. We did see him.
They're great.
But that's the thing I don't get. The thing to me that made me so mad is like he wouldn't press. He saw Cole trying to get an angle, and he was jogging on the other side, making that press so ineffective. And it's like, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah.
And then he would run. He'd get the ball. He'd run, and he'd just run to the touchline and be like, I'm out. I'm out of gas, guys.
Yeah.
For what? You haven't done anything. It's just one of the most annoying players I've ever seen in my life.
If whoever comes in, I'm sure this is on the list of guys preparing for these interviews with the Rapids to be the coach. How can you fix Kevin Cabral? Like, how can you make him a productive piece? Defensively, great. 99th percentile interceptions, 97th percentile
Do you think
tackles.
that's an interview question?
No, but I do
How
think...
can you fix? I mean,
No, it is.
I don't
think
know
it
if
is.
it's an
I mean, it's
interview question.
DP slot. So
I'm
it's like,
assuming
how can
that
you fix
whoever
it?
is interviewing is looking at this roster, sees that DP tag, sees that
Like,
money,
I gotta
and sees the
figure
stats,
this
and is
out.
like, hey, I can get the best out of this guy.
Play him at the 9 and then put Rafa at the 10. That'd
See,
be kinda
here's
fun.
what I want. I think he should just be an out-and-out right mid or left mid.
Yeah.
And put a winger and a striker in front of him. Let him get to full speed with the ball at his feet. Because that is when he's most effective. He's not a target guy. That's just not his game. And that's how they had to play him.
I think playing him at the 9 with Rafa at the 10 might be
Could be
kinda
fun. They're fast as hell.
Yeah, exactly. That's
It's just good.
yeah.
I'm not selling my stock, but it's not worth very much.
I'm not-
So it's a fool's.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the moon, and it's just not. Gonna
I
hit.
don't know Cabral, but it feels like he doesn't know how to read the game live as the game is going.
Sure.
That's what it feels like.
Just maybe a pass or two behind there. Okay, Jonathan Lewis. Man, Jonathan Lewis.
J-Lu, I think, tried, which is something that we can say at least.
We
And-
gave him a D-, and that is 100% because of his U.S. Open Cup goals.
Yeah.
In the MLS, 26 matches played, just under 1,200 minutes, 1 goal, no assists.
I don't have much to say about J-Lu. I think that's the right grade, honestly.
Look, all the skill, like all the speed in the world, and unless he learns to not kick it straight at the goalkeeper every time he has a chance, he could score a bunch of goals because he puts himself in good positions. But I think by the end of this season, it got, I don't know, I'm not going to say toxic's probably not the right word, but it's tough to be on a terrible team.
Yeah.
Right. And it's tough to not perform
Yeah.
on a terrible team.
Got frustrating.
It's defeating to be on that team, and it's defeating when your performance isn't lifting that team. And I think it wore on him. And, you know, it's not confirmed, but, you know, it's pretty much common knowledge that he won't be a part of this team next year. He'll be moving somewhere to the
Heavy
Eastern Conference.
speculation.
Heavy speculation. I don't think he wants to be here. I think he wants a fresh start. And you can just, you know, hope he can take more than just speed.
I hope he gets it.
Because
I still think J-Lu is really good, and I think a fresh start is exactly what he needs.
he was 99th percentile in progressive carries,
Yeah.
95th percentile in pass completion, 91st percentile in take-ons. If you move him, that was purely forwards. If you move him attacking mid wingers, nothing really great. Passing was still pretty good. You just hope that you know, because I mean, he made a Gold Cup roster, right? In 2018, he was a guy that was like, he's into the Gold Cup roster. If he performs, he can be a guy. And we didn't, and he just hasn't found that last little bit to complete his game. Hopefully, he finds it somewhere else. Won't be in here next year. Last on the list, Darren Yapi.
Got an F.
He got an F, and that sucks. I
This
wanted
F
to
is
give
better
him-
than Cabral's. I will say this.
It's a better F than Cabral.
Yeah.
This is purely
He runs harder, for sure.
That's the one thing I like about him.
Yeah.
This is purely, almost all about those counting stats, right? Like,
I think it is purely counting stats, in my opinion.
He had all the opportunity. Look, that's one thing that you can give credit to Robin Fraser about, is he gave Yapi chances,
Yeah, he gave him a run.
right? I mean, he is still 18 years old. His birthday is
Next year.
Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday? Wow.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Yapi.
Happy birthday. Sorry
Happy
about
birthday,
the
Yappy. Sorry about the F.
We're going to need you to sign this report card and give it to your parents. We want it back next week.
20 matches played, just under 900 minutes. By the end of the season, he was purely an R2 guy, right? Had that epic winner in the Next Pro playoffs. Definitely the highlight of his season.
There's a flashpoint where in that first game, if he just scores that ball that hits the bar, I think he's breakout player of the year.
Yep.
For the MLS.
Yep.
It really is like a little, by a couple of inches, his whole life could have changed.
He was at the Under-23 World Cup.
Yep.
Played a good amount of minutes, didn't score. You were hoping that, because it was a frustrating start to the season, where he had some near goals very early in matches too. It was always second minute, third minute, fifth minute. Just right there. Didn't get it. Goes down to Argentina. All right, if he can get a goal here, he's playing with the best players who play. You know, Diego Luna was there with him. Just like guys that you think can maybe help unlock him a little bit. Doesn't get a goal, comes back, frustrating result. Goes down, plays well with the second team. Where's your hope factor next year, Duane?
I mean, it's in the fact that he's young, you know. I mean, you're a striker, you have to score goals. Like, we can try to save the grade as much as we want with stats that are pretty, but at the end of the day, you're a striker, you got to score goals. So maybe it's a Yahya situation where he opens his account right at the beginning of the season and that confidence just floods in and he's unstoppable. And we pair him up there with Rafa, and we're off to the races.
4-4-2 with those two up top is intimidating.
That would be my hope. Would be to watch that all season. Would be wonderful.
Look, I hope he gets it. He has all the physical tools. I do think he kind of got moved around the formation a little much, right? He was subbing in as like an out-and-out winger.
I kind of liked him in that role, though. He was kind of good.
He was good as a winger,
Yeah.
I thought.
No assists.
No assist, but like I like what he did. It was better than the wingers we
This is
already
a
had.
winger.
Oh, right. He did have one assist, but I can't remember if that was when he came on as a winger or if that was as a striker. He had one assist on the season.
It wasn't
In
a-
his defense, everyone was bad at winger.
Yeah,
That's true.
But he was like not bad. He was like for being playing striker. He
especially if you're matching up with those outside backs in the MLS.
Yeah.
Not a lot of big physical outside backs in the
Yeah.
MLS. He dominates any of those physical matchups.
I will say I'll take Yapi over Rashford any day of the week.
We're not starting this right now. 30 goal scorer. Get out of here.
Oh, how many has he scored this year?
We're not getting into this right now.
How good is he on the wing, though?
Actually, pretty
Truly
good.
amazing. Yeah.
Don't say that.
It's really great.
Truly top 10 in the world.
Yeah, truly
How good
amazing.
is he at soccer, though? Turns out he's really good.
Look, I don't.
He's kind of good.
This wasn't exactly splitting the atom. Breaking news that this was a disappointing group, right? You know Rubio's gone. You know Lewis is gone. You know Galvan. Who knows what his role will be?
Mm-hmm.
Lewis out. Like where can this group jump from an F to a C or better next year? Like what is it? Strictly the transfer market? Is it formation? Is it like what elevates this group to a acceptable level?
It's a little bit of everything, right? You gotta have to. I think a lot of it also comes down to confidence. This position group itself lacked a lot of confidence. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things. Confidence, formation, I think is really going to help. You saw that with Little. There was already a huge increased improvement. Bringing in a player too also is not going to hurt the team. If anything, it's going to light some fire under some asses, and it's going to get people playing harder.
I need a coach who's offensive minded.
Yes.
No more defensive coaches. I don't want any more. I've had enough. That experiment has been 3 coaches running now. I'm good.
Me too.
I
Me
feel like
too.
I got to see it. I'm good.
Let's elevate this goal scoring
Let's
group.
find a coach who's going to coach to this group's strengths, and I think that will be the biggest part. In addition to transfer market, we have to bring in some
Yeah,
help on
so
the
when
wings.
you're looking at Rubio, not a DP, but you cleared between Rubio's salary, Michael Barrios' salary, and if you even want to throw in, Jack and Acosta, that's like over $2 million in wages, right? There's room to spend. What sort of are you trying to find a Rubio type, or does this offense need more of a complementary piece to Rafa?
It honestly needs more wingers. You need a Jordan Morris, somebody that can take on and get crosses in and also shoot. You just need a full offensive guy out there. Like, you can't.
Sure.
I don't think it's about what it complements. I think you need a player. You need ballers, and I think that's what the team lacks.
Yeah, I don't want anybody on sale either. Like,
Right.
no more
Not a reclamation guy. Yep.
Like, I want, just go ahead and pay full price. Let's get somebody off of
Full price. I like that.
the rack. The new
Yeah.
new stuff.
Totally.
Let's not get last year's model on anything and go for it.
All right, super producer Alyssa wants us out of here for Broncos. I'm sure of it by now.
That hurts.
It is. We're running long though.
Your
as we
words
do
are
go
hurtful,
on.
Alyssa.
As we do go on, let's let her set up for Broncos. Yeah, start plugging us out of here, bud.
DNVR Rapids _Rapids on Twitter. Follow us there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll try to put out some more things out for you guys. 5-star review wherever you hear us. Would really appreciate that. And we are a podcast. And give this video a like. We love likes. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hey, guys, I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, smash that like and subscribe. Dwayne,
Hey guys, I'm a YouTuber.
hi.
Quote of the year. Quote of the year. Get into that Black Friday sale. It's going to be awesome.
Please.
That's the biggest thing happening at DMVR right now. It's huge.
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 That's going to do it for us, guys. Like and subscribe on your way out. Become a DNVR diehard member at thednvr.com. You get discounts at the bar, discounts on merch, free stuff, tickets to our takeovers and party buses. You can even jump in the Discord channel. All sorts of fun stuff once you become a diehard. Absolutely worth it. Best money you could spend to support local sports journalism and podcasting. More important than all of that, the thing we do every time, baby. Up the pits.
We all silly like the mayor.